What really makes us Adventists? This is a personal reflection. Lately, I found myself asking a question I never thought I would ask. What really distinguishes an Adventist woman from the world, or a man from the world? I used to believe it was simple, that it was how we dressed, how we ate, how we spoke, how we worshipped, and how we lived our lives. For many years, these external markers created a sense of identity. I almost thought this is what an Adventist anywhere in the world should look like. For me, I felt proud that we stood out, visibly different. Proud to be Adventist, you'd say. But somewhere along the way, that visibility faded out, that difference faded out. Today, Adventists dress like anyone else, they eat like anyone else. We entertain ourselves like everyone else. We talk, we work, we love, we struggle, and we stumble just like everyone else. And one day I woke up and realized, if the outward signs have merged with the world, then what really makes us remnant? What makes us Adventists? This question, that question, my brothers and sisters, began to trouble me. Not because it exposed weakness, but because it really exposed the truth which I want to share with you. The truth is, we were never meant to be defined by our outward symbols. The remnant identity was never meant to be stitched into clothing or hidden in some shopping carts and displayed in some vocabulary we just throw around. No. Those things were expressions, not definitions. They were just reflections and not the foundations of the faith that we know. So what then is the foundation? What actually makes an Adventist different from others? As I wrestled with that question, I felt like God was drawing my attention away from clothing and away from food, away from those things, and turning my eyes back to the real calling and the purpose. I began to rediscover something I had forgotten, that Adventism was never designed to be a cultural identity. It was born to be a prophetic movement. And we are not merely another denomination sitting on the shelf alongside many others that people can choose from. We are not just a religious tribe trying to survive in a digital age. No. We are not just people who are slightly different in terms of our habits or slightly different in terms of our doctrines. No. The core of Adventism is not behavior. It is its mission. It is not the lifestyle. It is its prophetic message. It is not some culture. It is actually a calling that God has given us. And the more I realized this, the more my heart began to burn again. We are distinct because of the message we carry. I began to realize that the three angels' messages are actually a warning, a proclamation, a final global invitation that we do not belong to this world. And these messages were entrusted to this movement. The sanctuary message, the story of the cross extending into the present day, is not a common doctrine. The Sabbath, not just as a day of rest, but as a final seal of allegiance, is not a cultural symbol. Even our health message, when we live it correctly, not simply admiring it, it's not about diet. It is about clearing the mind and hearing the voice of God clearly and equipping us, body and mind, to serve Him. And above all these things, what makes us a remnant is our love. Holy love, the sacrificial love, the transforming love of God. Because here is the sobering reality. We can preach the truth without living it. We can declare prophecy without even embodying Christ into that prophecy. It is not enough to just know the message. We must become the message itself in how we live. Because, you see, the world does not need Adventist information. This world needs Adventist transformation. When the remnant shines again, and it will shine, I believe so, the difference will not be in clothing styles or in dietary preferences. It will be in the character of Christ produced in His people. people will carry the truth not as an argument, but as a living revelation in their lives. And maybe, just maybe, God allowed our outward uniqueness to fade so we could stop hiding behind it, so we could stop confusing external separation with spiritual identity, so we could realize that being Adventist is not being just different for the sake of being different. It is being different for the world's sake. As I reflect on who we are and what makes us distinct, I am learning that Adventism is not fading. It is awakening to its real identity. But the awakening will not begin in our wardrobes. It will begin in our hearts. It will not be seen first in our lifestyles. It will be seen in our surrender to Christ. It will not be even recognized by the world through the diet we eat. It will be recognized through the devotion we give to Christ. So I ask myself, and I ask you today, are you still living the mission? Are we still carrying the message? Are we still burning with hope of His return? Are we still longing to see Him break the clouds and return? Are we still willing to be the remnant, not in name, but in nature? Because the remnant is not defined by what it wears, though that is important, but by what it bears. I believe with all my heart, brothers and sisters, if we return to our calling, if we rediscover our purpose, if we allow God to reignite our identity, the world will not need to ask what makes us Adventist. They will see it and they will know it. Not in our clothes, not in our plates, not in our words, but they will see it in our lives, in how we love, in our loyalty to Christ and to each other as a body, and in our longing for Christ to return. That, I believe, is how we are. And that is what makes us a remnant. And so, my brothers and sisters, I pray that you may begin to ask yourself these questions and answer them for yourself. Don't begin to look on the outward and start judging people, but start reviewing, am I right with the Lord myself?
MelVee Broadcasting Network, a divine voice out of Africa. Remember to like, to subscribe, and to click the bell.